I'm not going to get, um I mean, it's 5:30 AM New York time right now. I haven't, um I haven't prepared myself for live streaming, gotten ready, done my hair, I mean, anything. This is just me getting basically out of bed um, and coming online. And the reason why I'm doing this is this. I know what it is like to struggle through life. I know what it's like to want something and not being able to align my actions to get there. I know how defeating that can be. I know how difficult that can make things because you're striving and you want and you want and you strive more and you practice and you try, and yet the results, for whatever reason, still elude you. And you start thinking, what can possibly be wrong with me? What can be causing this? Or, like I also did as well, you also go to other people in your life and you're like, man, how is this relationship limiting me? And of course, we don't do that in those terms, but I know from my own experience, I can look back and I can say that I can see where that idea existed in some way in my own life. And it does, it impacts the relationship with other people. And it's not it's not something I look at as something that I did that was bad. Hey, Seed, welcome. It's more of something that I recognize that I did, and I choose not to manifest that type of experience or energy, if you will, in my life now. And so it's not something I'm trying to avoid. It's something I recognize, something that I see, something that I know that exists within my own pattern and structure of life, and one that I choose not to repeat again. Not because I want to avoid it, not because I'm trying to change it, but because I can allow myself to do something different. And I want to be able to help showcase and demonstrate these ideas at the live edge of life. And one of the things I've always struggled with in my life is trading. I got into it a long time ago and I struggled with it for many years until I didn't, and until I did, and until now it's like the light bulb came on. And it's like, it's almost like having a really, really, really good professor, and you're just like in awe with their knowledge. You're just in awe with who they are as an individual. And you're like, oh man, I wish I could just take their brain and their knowledge and plug it into mine, kind of like the Matrix, right? You plug it in, right? And all of a sudden, you're a kung fu master. You can fly a helicopter, right? You can do whatever it is that you want to do. In the Matrix, right, that happens immediately. They get a program, they plug it into your jack, and the information is uploaded. For us, it takes time. And I question how much time it actually takes for us. Because I think in reality, at least for me, information can be downloaded to us very simply, like the Matrix. It just kind of jacks in, and here we go. We've got the information and we can act. Think about when you learned to drive. Think about when you learned to do something that was really important to you, right? It took some time, but it didn't take time. It didn't take years to develop as a driver. Think about it. Once your muscles start working as a baby or you watch a baby, it doesn't take a baby years to develop walking. It takes a relatively short amount of time. And so my question is, in the concept of learning, is it really that things are hard, or is it our own patterns and ideas, our filled cup that blocks the information from coming in? Is our cup so full that it's overflowing and there's no room for anything else to come in? I like that analogy because it kind of just gives a nice little picture. But I don't like the things that come after that. Well, meditate, empty your cup. Because for me, when I used to hear those things, I'm like, well, how the hell do you do that? What does that even mean? Empty my cup, right? And then the people that are self aware, right, and self actualized, well, they're like, you just do it. Third eye opened. Thank you, Speed. I appreciate that. You just do it. And I can't tell you how you do it because I don't recognize fully the shift that happened to allow me to do it. And so I can't actually point to that mechanism because I'm not aware of it myself. And I think this is what happens, right? People that wake up, okay, were asleep. If you want to use that analogy, I don't really like this analogy, but let's just kind of go with it because it's in my head right now, and we're just going to see what happens, right? Let the information spill out as it's coming to us. We were once asleep, and then we wake, and when we're asleep, we're dreaming. Our cup is full with these dreams, with these things, with all this stuff that's out of our ability to do anything with because we're asleep, we're checked out, we're not consciously aware or participating in the information that's coming to us. We're like a sponge and the information is just there and we're experiencing what's happening, almost like a movie playing, and we're just in the theater in the seats watching it play out. But life is very different from when we are asleep. When we are awake, we become the actor. We are the star of the show. We are behind the screen, not in front of it. But when we are awake, most of us still show up in front of the screen instead of behind it. Because all that stuff from our dreams is still playing out even though we're consciously awake. But we can see the difference when we're sleeping because we're checked out. And when we're awake, we're not checked out because we're tied to an identity. We're tied to that very part that's playing for us, and we don't even realize it. And I think that is an analogy that starts to create this process of now I can start becoming awake. I could start becoming aware that that possibility could be true. I can become aware that I'm not the actor, but I can become the actor. And as we move into becoming, I really feel like that's the process of emptying our cup. Because as we move into that, something else moves out of it. And it's not that we have to empty our cup, it's our cup becomes empty on its own. And I think that's why people that have an empty cup don't realize that happened because they weren't part of the process to make it happen. But then when they go to teach somebody, they're like, man, how do you empty your cup? You know what? I don't really know. I don't remember. I didn't experience it, because they don't realize it happens automatically. And they really do purposely try to help individuals in order to get there. And why am I explaining this to you? Because I really want to help people achieve their goals in their lives, not just in trading, everywhere. Just using trading as a demonstration. Why? Because it's something that I can use that automatically empties my cup. What can you use? I don't know. I don't know you. But I can say this: the tool I use to do that is focus. And when I'm focused, something happens. I get new ideas I haven't had before. And when I get those new ideas and I apply them to the real life, something interesting happens. My experience start to change. And those new experiences, well, they go somewhere. Where do they go? They go to the cup that was once full. But if the cup was full, then where do those new experiences go? Well, that cup now has to have room. Not because I let go, not because I changed myself, I healed myself, I fixed myself, I stopped doing something I was doing before. It's simply I shifted my focus and I allowed old experiences to automatically be removed through the natural process of the central nervous system, instead of me trying to force something that's designed to naturally happen. It's like planting a seed and trying to force a sprout to come out. You cultivate the sprout, or you let the sprout come naturally if the environment is aligned to allowing it to sprout. If not, you adjust the environment. You add better soil, better fertilization. You realize what it takes. Maybe you need a greenhouse. Maybe you need to bring that seedling, that plant, that seed into a house or a controlled environment. You water it. You take care of it. And it's not the full cup that needs to be taken care of. It's your focus. Your focus is the seed. The programming, it's the tree. We don't cultivate a tree. It's going to grow and blossom and do all the things that it does all on its own. We don't need to do photosynthesis for a tree. It happens naturally for a tree. There's nothing to cultivate for a tree. It's just there. The problem is it's like a weed, and when you cut one out, 10 of them return. So instead of trying to fix something, let's go down a different route. And that's what this stream is about. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take, if you're not aware, I did a live video on June 26, 2026. Check that video out, okay? It's live asset management trading, or asset management. I don't know. Where's my phone? Let me get the name of the title for you real quick so you have it. I want to be precise here. Live asset management. Think like a professional, not a trader. It was released on June 26, 2026 on Live the Return on YouTube. I introduced a new concept in that video, and that concept is we can use inventory and room in order to manage risk. What's inventory? Inventory is money, account size. We use our account size as inventory. And how do we do that? Size. But not size as in entering the market and trying to hit, a home run with like a 10 lot, right? Size as in we enter very, very small, the smallest amount we possibly can, one lot. And as price goes against us over time, we can anticipate a pullback. And in that pullback, we start to add. And our entry starts to move towards that pullback until we can get out with a break even and not an expense. It becomes an inventory of risk management of a stop rather than of risk management of a stop rather than putting a stop in that creates the risk in the first place. See, you would never take an expense trade if you never had a stop, but the stop is designed there for you to limit your risk, but not limit your risk in a position, limit your risk in a catastrophic event. Catastrophic, like wiping out a full account balance in one trade. And we look at it as, well, 1% or 2%. That way we can have a plethora of an expense trades before before we trade ourselves out of it. But if you blow up an account, it means you have your plethora of risk trades before you got to your revenue trades. And in the case of these prop accounts that are out there and those type of things, you might be risking 1 to 2% of your account value, but you can't risk 1 to 2% of your risk value. If you have a $1,500 drawdown, to risk 10% of that is $150. To risk 1% of that is $15. That's only 3 ticks in the NASDAQ. Could you imagine putting a stop of 3 ticks in the NASDAQ? What would happen? How long would it take for you to blow up your account having a 3-tick risk in the NASDAQ? Would you ever have room for revenue trade? So there's got to be a better way. And this, I'm entering the human performance lab right now, just the lab, not the human performance. I'm just entering the lab of theory, of trading theory. And I'm going to take a day that was extremely difficult for me to trade. And this day was June 24th, 2026. It was Wednesday. Very, very, very difficult day for me to trade. I took a lot of stops, a lot of exits because the market was highly volatile and it was trading in a range and I was waiting for a breakout and it was very difficult to call the breakout. It kept coming back into other areas of auctions and it just sucked. Well, what happens if I stop trying to stop the market or stop my positions and I asset allocate? Well, thank you, Speed. Powerful. I enjoy this, and this is unique. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. I think we need to be unique because I think there's a lot of individuals out there that really want to help humanity, really help their brothers and sisters, their humankind. I think help at times has the best intentions, but it doesn't necessarily help, right? Sharing your religion perspective, for example, to a non-believer doesn't always help that individual when that individual is trapped in their own despair. I mean, think about it. Have you ever been really upset in life or something like that? And somebody's just like, you just need to let go and let God. I know for me, when I heard those words, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Let go and let God. Really? How in the hell do you expect me to do that? And I'm just using that as an example, right? Or, maybe you're doing really well in life and things are just kind of going right and somebody comes up and is like, "Oh, well, you need God in your life. Jesus isn't there, right? You're not following the prophet, right? In a very respectful way. No, this is an open forum to all belief systems, not a single one. And every forum is welcome because I believe that everybody needs something to believe in a way that they need it for themselves. And we need to be open and less judgmental to the people around us for that. As an American and in the United States, okay, I do want to take a moment, all right? And this is very, very heartfelt. Iran, Egypt, World Cup. Can I please apologize for a moment for my country to you? And I'm being dead serious right now, okay? This is very heartfelt. This is very meaningful to me. I learned for the first time last night that Iran and Egypt were involved in a soccer match last night, football, okay? Let me be let me use your words, not the American ideology, right? Football. You had a match last night against each other. I don't know the result. I didn't watch it. I had to go to bed. I was really tired. And that match was in Seattle. It was a pride match, which goes completely against your culture and way of living. And the United States of America, for whatever reason, the leaders of whoever put this together chose to put that there. Not against pride. I'm not against anybody. I'm for people's cultures and belief systems. And can I apologize, please, for our country for pushing our own agenda and thought processes on a culture that doesn't want to be pushed in that direction? And I apologize that we did that to your team and to your people, to your nationality, to your anthems that are played in that stadium. Because everybody is important in this world. Every culture is important in this world. Every viewpoint and individuals and humanity is important in this world. Why? It's what creates the diversity, and the diversity is the beauty. Have you ever been to a garden and seen all the same things in the garden, all the same plants? It gets old really fast. But when you have a garden and it's all different colors and different things planted, and it's allowed to be a beautiful thing. That's the beauty in life. And each one of our cultures, each one of our belief systems, each one of our religions, the ways of viewing the world is its own little garden, own little patch of garden. And if we just allow gardens to sit next to another, we would have more beauty to recognize in this world. So I just wanted to take that time for a public service announcement, and really, truly, Iran, Egypt, I am sorry. I'm sorry that you had, as a nation, you had to watch an ideology forced on your culture. Not that the ideology that was forced is wrong by any stretch of the imagination. It's another beautiful portion of the garden. But just because you go to a garden doesn't mean you have to visit every section. All right, let me get off my soapbox and let's get into demonstrating this at the Live Edge. I'm going to take a day that was extremely difficult for me to trade and my methodology, and I'm going to adjust the risk management around that day just to see what happens. Because it's only through experimenting can we see if something can be useful for us or not. We can think about it as much as we want to, right? But until we act it, we don't have the experience. And it's experience that allows us to react or interact with the physical world. And the physical world is what provides the construct of reality. So reality is really nothing more than a construct of the perception used to perceive the information. And that perceived information is what the initial perception acts upon. And so reality is nothing more than a mirror of act on perception. All right. Well, if we go into something with the same perception all the time, we're always going to have the same results. So we do need to shift our perspective a little bit. And the only way to shift the perception is really to be open to new information. Not just open to new information, but be able to act on it. Okay. So this is a live. I haven't done this before live, right? So I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do things, right, that I'm going to have to pause, and I'm going to have to discuss, and I'm going to have to go into in a very meaningful and deep way, right? But this is practice, and each one of us practices a little bit different. I'm a very analytical individual, and I see things differently because I see the top up, but then I also the top down, but then I also see the down top as well in these processes, and I kind of put things together differently. And individuals that really, really get to know me, they're like, man, your mind. I love your mind. Your mind is just different. And some people it shuts off, they shut off because my mind is so different. Not different as in better, just different. And so I go very deep into things, very deep. And you may not want to go that deep, but this is practice. And I'm demonstrating practice live because I think it's important so people can see how to create a process of practice. And yeah, I'm doing it at the live edge of the charts, but you can apply it to anything that you could possibly practice. So let's get into it. Let's get into the practice. See, you ready? You still with me? Did I go on to too much of a tangent for you? I apologize. Every once in a while, there's just some things that you need to get off your chest or they'll harbor. It's part of letting go of the emptying the cup, right? And to pride into my own country. I don't want you to think that I'm apologizing for your culture. Okay, not by any stretch of the imagination, right? I love that we live in a world that's open to that now. I just question if forcing that openness to doors that are closed to it is the right thing for our country to be doing, or is that more of the American arrogance that the rest of the world sees? What what image do we want to portray as a country? The arrogance of forced acceptance of ideals, or openness of accepted ideals from other people? And that's an identity question for our country. And think about it. I'm going straight to 9:30 on this. I'm not starting at 9:40. I want to see how the day actually unfolds through the whole US session. I don't want to go into this with any perceived ideas and ideologies. I want to be very aware of how I'm viewing this market and what's going on. As you can tell, I haven't done any PMA either. It's not because I am just going to focus on the short-term charts. In fact, my goal is not to. Um, but we have this gap here. And here's the thing with gaps, right? Is it going to fill? Is it not? And this is a really, really large gap. And this is the first real sign that we have that maybe we're seeing rejection off of this big trend up that we've had. But one thing I can notice already, that, and this is one of those situations where we have a overlapping profile. And so maybe the right answer for this day is really not to trade this area at all. And I'm going to go into this whole process this morning with that as a possibility. We get into these highs, maybe the correct answer is on an intraday level, just not to trade it at all. And then our next static area for our dynamic trading period is here. All right. And this is where we've been looking for possible long positions. And maybe in all of this, it might be wise for me to figure out these actual areas themselves. 618. My numbers are here. I can't read them. My eyes are not. Maybe I need new glasses. I don't know. I have bifocals too. I hate to admit that. I'm old. That's all right. Hopefully, you will have the same opportunity in life, because that means you have lived a good, long life. So let's go to 618 and 581. So what I want to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pause this real quick, because this is something that I would normally do on a before the market opens anyhow, right? So we're going to go to 581. Where is 581 at? There's 80 right there. Okay. 581 to 618. And we're going to go here, and we're going to come up here to 618 range. So there's 618 right there. Fine. That's close enough. And we need 81, and I'm at 82 and a half right now. So let's just drop this just a little bit. 81.75. That's fine. This isn't an exact science, right? We don't need to be exactly where these are. Okay. If price action comes down into this area, this is where I would be possibly looking long from this perspective over here. But let's really get into what this actually means. Where's actual price action trading right now? Well, we have initial balance low here, and we have initial balance high up here. Now, where is the area at of that I just marked with a red that maybe we don't want to be trading in at all, because of the market telling us two different things at the same time? And how is that? Unfair lows is telling us to go long. Unfair highs is telling us to go short. Long, short. Is this an area we even want to trade in the first place? Again, theory, right? Not saying belief, not saying anything else. Theory. And what do we do with theories? We test them. So we're going to take an area here. What is that? Looks like 912. I think is what that says. 912 and 049. So we're going to go up here to 912, right? Is that right? Is that 912? That really looks really low. Jeez Louise, this is ridiculous. Oh, duh. Okay. 897. That's so funny. Give me a moment. Sorry guys, I'm being an idiot. It's fine. 897 and 30,000. So 897, which is going to be right up here. There, 897 all the way up to 30,000. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty wide area to say we're not trading in. But I want to test this and I want to see. And then leave me alone. Seed. Okay. And what was that low area? Now I'm lost again. So we're right above 900, right? And so if we're right above 900, we're just going to go ahead and put this at 900. Need to get into this, and I'm tired of trying to figure this out. This is our area. Sounds good to me. Whatever. Again, I'm not trying to do an exact science. This is like a pseudoscience, right? It's like philosophy. It's like economics is definitely a pseudoscience. Now, let's play this and see what happens. We have areas for long. We have our areas for no trading, right? I shouldn't put that into red because that's like telling us short. That was kind of dumb, but we'll keep it red anyhow, and hopefully I don't interpret that as we need to be short. Now that I just said that, I know I will, so I'm going to go ahead and change the color. You guys get, this the weirdness of my mind. I'm telling you, I think differently. Let's go ahead and make that a bright yellow. Right? There we go. I even like that color anyhow. Ugh. Anyways, hopefully we don't get up there and have to spend time up there. Let's see. Now we need an area above that to possibly go long. And that's going to be way up there to 30,200. Thank you. I appreciate that. You'll remind me. I need that. I need reminders. Okay, so we have this, and this is going all the way up to 30,200. I mean, I don't know. We'll just go ahead and just put it to 100 right now, knowing that it's going to extend up there. We're also going to extend this to the right. And I kind of like this little thing that I just did here. I didn't mean to, but I kind of like it. Let's push this over to the left. That way we know it's differential to this area down here. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and color this as well green. This is where we're starting to look for potential longs to move us back into prior higher value. And we're going to extend this over to the right. Now we have our areas. Okay. It's now 9:34 in the trading day. And we're going to wait. Now, normally even in these back tests here, I would move this forward, but I'm not going to right now. I want to watch this. I want to watch this. I want to see it. Seed. Question. Is this helping you? The ideas that I've shared so far, or am I just, giving you an insight into the way I think and what I'm thinking about in terms of structure of the market and those type of things? Is this helping you at all? And I'm not going to index anything in the dynamic because I'm expecting price action to come up here into the 29,900 anyhow, right? And I'm not doing anything here at the lows because we really don't have unfair lows down here either. This is developing. So I'm not going to index anything within the context of the current profile. And then if I go into the current profile of today and the overnight sessions and those type of things, we're in a very extended range here. Yes, are you getting exposed to everything? Okay, good. We're just in a really, I mean, this bar here, right? This is the full 24-hour session. This bar here says it all, right? High volatility, range extension. We should expect higher time frames getting involved today. And when higher time frames get involved, okay, expect wider price action because there's more liquidity coming into the market than normal. Who usually provides liquidity? Day traders. And it's like monkey hour, right? That's one of the things that creates all of the chop and those type of things. Not saying that other time framers coming in doesn't create chop. Other time framers come in is going to create more auctions because there's going to be higher volume coming into the market. Higher volume coming into the market is going to create more higher volume areas. More higher volume areas is more auctions within the short term phase. I hope everybody can get that I worded that correctly. If anybody has questions on that, leave them in the comments. Come over to Discord, let me know. We'll talk about it. You'll have to remind me of this topic while you're doing it because by that time I will have forgotten, maybe even forgotten that concept completely because I might be on a whole nother idea. Who knows? But when higher time frames come in, expect higher volumes in certain area. Those higher volumes are going to create higher volume nodes. And you're going to see that in the chart. You're going to see more auctions of buyers and sellers conversing with one another because they're positioning their portfolios based upon the changing structure of the overall market condition. Think about it. Just think about put a hat on real quick of money management, okay? If you're in this type of market condition right here, we could go back farther, but I don't know if it's necessary to. Think about this market condition here. If you are an asset manager and you have a fund, right, that you're managing, are you making a lot of decisions in here? Is there any reason to make decisions? Or are you just holding because the structure to the uptrend is still continuing. I know for me, I can take a look at this and like, there's no reason to make decisions in here. Maybe I might be buying some if I have extra inventory in here, but that's only extra inventory. Extra inventory doesn't necessarily move the market unless it's a massive amount of excess inventory. But we don't see a lot of the angel investors and the tech investing companies and all of those individuals, right? They're using funds from a fund of funds to turn around and invest in a particular area of industry right now other than AI, right? It's quite early. Did I just wake up? Oh, Amar, yeah, I did. I came on actually, and I'm working on an idea that I had. Yeah, I did just wake up. I actually didn't even do my hair, so I'm live right now in a complete mess. But you know what? This is me. I didn't even put a sweatshirt on, right? Or a hoodie. They're hoodies now, not even sweatshirts. I didn't put a hoodie on today. Um, I don't really care. I'm actually just here to test something, and Seed was in, and I asked him, if he wanted to test something with me. It was like, I'm all in, and it was like, do you want to do it live or do you want to be on? And I can just talk to you on like Teams. Like, no, let's do it live. So I'm live streaming. That's how it all happened. It wasn't planned. It just kind of just went, right? And you just kind of go with the flow as things happen. Um, you know me, I get ideas and I just run with them. I'm crazy, whatever. Um, Back to the asset management. So there's really not a lot of decisions to make, but you get a bar like this. You get a bar like this in the US Open or in the overnights, right? And then the US Open, this bar is already made. Don't you think that higher time frame managers might start making some changes in their decisions because of the width of this bar and because of where it's at and what's going on? Do we have any idea of what direction they're going to go in or what they're going to take it or how they're even going to, internalize this? I mean, they might look at it as, oh, wow, this is actually the first major pullback. We're going to buy this, right? Always on the grind. No, you know what? You have to grind when you're not intentional, when you're trying to force it, when you're trying to make something happen. That's the difference. That's the difference in mindset, right? Not a new mindset. It's a different mindset. It's a grind set and it's a aligned set. Oh, I like that. I might coin that. So write that down for me, Amar, please. Aligned set, right? When you're aligned in a direction, you're doing something, you're practicing as a sense of purpose, as a sense of passion to your intention. When you're grinding, you're acting and you're grinding in a sense of a result. You're a slave to the result and the grinding, and that's why you feel so just all the time. You're trying to make something happen and you're tired because you're forcing, you're not in the flow, right? But when you have an intention, you really want to do something and you come in and you just practice. This isn't a grind. I love this. I'm doing this out of the sheer nature of enjoying the process. Let that sink in. 941, we have an auction down here. We're at IVB low. We have not moved into the lower areas yet, but we're near. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something really crazy here. And I know I didn't do this earlier. See this bar here, this big down bar? We barely broke the low in here. We have an auction. If we get above this auction, I'm going to buy this area and I'm going to put my stop down through here into this area. Why am I doing this? When I look at and I put this day together and conceptually in my head, okay, we have a huge, huge, huge day here. All right. And I could see where it could possibly spook other time frames. That's 942. I should have waited for IVB to set up. We're doing, why am I putting a stop in the first place? See, this is what I mean, right? We're programmed to do things Okay, programmed to do things. I'm programmed to put a stop in. I'm a trader. I got to put a stop. What happens if I can't just not put a stop, right? What happens if something catastrophic happens and it just blows my account? Well, I'm going to blow my freaking account by putting a stop in there in the first place. This is asset management. All right. Oh my God. See what I just did? Do you see what just happened there? Let me pause this real quick and make sure everybody understands this. I totally put a stop in there subconsciously without even thinking about it. My whole title on this is asset management. Is that what an asset management manager does? Absolutely not. I just went in to practice this area and as a trader, not as an asset manager. Do you see that? Do you see how I just did that real time? Now, what happens when you go to make that phone call to go get that contract that you want? And you're thinking about it beforehand and you have a full plan, and then the conversation happens and you didn't have the conversation you intended and you didn't get the contract. I was wondering, and we need expenses. Yeah, exactly. I know. See, exactly. But that's what I mean. The subconscious came in and hijacked what I consciously wanted to participate in. That's my whole point of this. That's the demonstration here. This is what makes this so beautiful. I just did it. Now watch that. Watch that little point right there. We need to somehow mark this video and make sure that I'm able to get this out there to the world. Because this is exactly what happens to us, not in trading, in every single area of our lives. Just trading gives me a chance to be able to see it differently. And when you can see it in one area of your life, now you start to see it in other areas. How does that work? Well, think about it. Have you ever bought a new car before? And then all of a sudden you see that same car all over the place? Yeah, that's what just happened to me. I placed that stop as a trader and not an asset manager. But think about it. I'm near this area. There's an auction here. Okay. Buyers and sellers conversing. I want to be long in this area. If it comes against me, beautiful. Let it come against me. Please threaten me with a good time so I can actually put inventory in this area. And if we blast out of this area where I'm expecting buyers to possibly come in at some point in time, I already have size on, and now we can really have a lot of fun. And I didn't have any risk in there because I took the risk out by adding not all of the position up here as it's going back. I'm only down $800. I only have, if I do this prop firm I'm looking at, right, I only have an inventory of 5 lots. I've got to give myself time with those 5 lots. If I had 20, 30 lots, I'd be adding some in here. I don't have access to that type of inventory. I only have 4 extra. Can I say it? Do I dare say it? I only have 4 extra bullets right now. That's all I have. Okay? I've already gone through 1. Okay? I spent 1 cartridge. Okay? I've got 4 cartridges left. 4. That's it. Only 4. So I don't want to use those 4 on and what really is a very small expense of $800. I want to wait. I want to wait. I want to allow this to develop. Let's get into it. God, this is fun. This is what I mean. See what I mean, Amar, is a difference, right? Grinding isn't fun. And it's not that I'm making this fun, it's automatically fun because the passion is already there because it's an aligned set, not a grind set. God, I gotta coin that and trademark that or some trash. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. And I took a position before 9:45. Ooh, I broke a rule. Let the market dictate what you're going to do. Stop making so many rules. Allow yourself to flow with what's going on around you. And be kind to yourself. It's not breaking a rule. You just, if it messes with you over time, then make it more of a structure. But sometimes I think that we structure too much. And maybe sometimes we just need to relax with ourselves, allow ourselves to be, and just allow ourselves to be structured or less structured and see what that last structure unfolds for us. Okay. Now, let's go back into the context of the longer term real quick and see where we want to kind of cycle through this area. The expectation in auction market theory is for price action now to come back into this high volume node in here, possibly all the way up to 437. Now let's look and just see where the entry is. Okay, that was 30,437. I'm down here at 652. Trying to hold to 30,004. I mean, we're talking about 800 points. It's not in my wheelhouse. I don't even like that idea. I'm not even going to try to do that. I'm taking that idea out of my head, getting on my little proverbial mental keyboard, typing it in, hitting the delete button so I don't have to participate in that bullshit anymore, right? It's gone, deleted, beautiful. Thank you so much. But I'm comfortable with the 830 area. And if I think about holding a position from 652 to 830, I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely doable for me. That seems realistic to me. So that's what I'm going to go with. Remember, I only have 5 cartridges. Okay, this is an area to go long, but I don't want to go long above my area because I'm not using inventory to make money. I'm using inventory to manage risk. That means I can only enter as the market's against me, dollar cost averaging myself into the market. Well, Tony, you're adding to losing positions. I'm adding to the position to reduce the overall risk. It immediately, initially adds risk. 100%. I completely agree with you, but it removes it. But let me show you something here real quick. So let me show you. Okay, let's see if we can get price action to break above this high real quick. And I'm going to show you something because right now I can't show you because we're just trading in this range. I need it to break out of this range. But remember when I said, possible higher time frames coming in? Look at all this high volume in here. Look at all this high volume in here. We've got players in the market today. People are participating. We have participants. What happens when there's a lot of participants? We need to think. And they're kind of all over the place. They're not kind of grouped in an area. Participants grouped in an area can possibly create a trend. I mean, think about it. You got a lot of people in one single area, right? Right? And that area is small. What's going to happen? Probably something volatile is going to happen. Somebody's going to run into somebody else, bump into the wrong person, and now you got to fight and everybody scatters. What is that? A trend. When you have conversations of people through a wide area, right? Think of a mosh pit. There you go. Now think about Disneyland. A lot of people in a larger area than a mosh pit, right? All kind of working in harmony together. That's balance. The market is in harmony and balance. It likes balance. It's out of harmony in the trends. Think about that. Now we're down 1,000. Okay, at what point in time do we want to think about starting to add in? Not until a pullback starts. So if this breaks down through this area pretty harshly, okay, and it starts to snap down. Remember, we only have $5,000, okay, on this other prop firm. Okay, so a $5,000 loss is a catastrophic loss. I got to keep that into mind as well. Okay, these are all things that I'm thinking about in this context of the practice. So I don't want to start adding in at the lows in here because what happens if we double break this low and I add into a contract here and now I'm turning around and I'm underwater by $5,000 already and they go ahead and liquidate my position? Well, that wouldn't be any fun. So again, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. And I'm allowing this to go against me, knowing what my max risk is, right? And utilizing my cartridges to time myself into this market. And I got in at this initial area. And what this is also telling me too is I have a $5,000 initial risk. Okay. It'd be kind of nice this morning to maybe have 5,500, 6,000 because we are in this wider market condition. Right? Probably because now we're cycling through here and possibly testing here, I might go ahead and take this off if we break these highs and give myself a little bit more inventory in the market this morning. If it's going to give me the profit, to take the profit, where rotational, I can get back in for the same way that I just did. And then if it comes against me like that, I have a few $100s to add into the 55 or to add into the 5,000, and I have a little bit more inventory to use. I like the idea of $1,000. So if I'm long one, I'm going to put one limit in here. I'm going to pop this limit in. There's $1,200. Give it to me. There we go. Can it go? Sure. Let it. Let it go. Okay. I might have just gotten out at the momentum that brings us back up to initial balance. I don't care, because my idea there was not to go to initial balance, it was to get more inventory, and I achieved my goal. See, I had a goal in trading. And it's not now that I have a fear of missing out. I have seller's remorse because I got out too early. Because you know what? I have $6,205 of inventory this morning now built in to a market condition that I'm expecting to be highly volatile. Oh, let's go. God, this is good stuff. I'm actually impressing. I'm impressing myself with my own ability to be able to bring in new information. Now, when I look at new information, I don't see new information as coming from me. The new information comes from the ether, right? And what's the ether? It's the same thing that radio waves travel through. Okay, I'm not going to call it consciousness. I'm not going to get into the woo. Okay, we know that there's an ether there and information travels through the air. How else are you going to utilize a phone, right? For office satellites and those type of things, the cell phones, that's not coming off of wires like the telegrams and the telegraphs used to do, the old telephones. That's all through the air. Those signal waves are traveling through the air. I just think ideas come to me that same way, right? That keeps me from being structured and stay out of the woo, right? But I'm open to new information right now. And the way that I'm receiving and perceiving that information, I'm really impressed with myself and allowing myself to do that, because I know the old me. But like, oh my God, I was such an idiot for getting out there. Are you kidding me? I could have turned around and gotten a $2,400 revenue. Man, why did I get out there? Okay, you know what? I got to get back in, because what happens if this thing goes all the way up here? And now I start chopping up my account. That's the way I used to think. I remember thinking that way. And I remember the emotions that used to come with that forced me to enter the markets around there. Okay. So I just took an $1,800 expense and I turned it into 1205. Now I have 60, from my understanding of the prop firm, I haven't talked to them yet. Now I have 6205 of risk today. Maybe that gives me another cartridge. Maybe that just gives me more room as the market goes against before we start getting pullbacks. And this isn't a pullback. This is just a one bar rejection. Nobody can call that. Nobody. Maybe people are getting in here, but they're not calling it. They're just getting in where it's easy to manage the risk, maybe on a scalp or something along those lines. Or somebody that's better at pinpointing minute areas better than I am, right? And I know they exist as well. One of my mentors, amazing individual. It's not with us anymore. He just best trader in the world. He would have been in there, and then he would chastise me for not being in there, which is absolutely correct. I just can't see it. I'm not going to try to force myself to do something. He can chastise me all he wants to. I'm just going to go about it a different way. But knowing that I wanted this as inventory and I got exactly what I wanted, I'm grateful instead of being left for wanting more. I think like most people would perceive an American would want. Huh. All right. Let's get into this. And I don't want to buy in here because now we're in the middle of IB, right? I already have 1200. Here's my edge, right? My edge is down here. I have another edge up here. Okay. This is the area that I don't want to trade in at all. This is the area that I'm willing to start looking for other positions in. Okay. It's time to give this market some room. If I get in here, I really have strong risk of $6,000 hitting me because I could go long in here anticipating prior or movement to continue because of this volatility. Price action can snap right back down here and I just hit my $5,000 or $6,000 risk on the day. No, thank you. I choose not to participate in that. That's me thinking as a trader, not necessarily as an asset manager. And so maybe that's one of the things we want to do. Think as a trader on our entries. Think of an asset manager on our exits. And when I entered as a trader before, right? This was me entering as a trader here anyhow, well, wherever I entered at, I don't remember, it was there. So entry here, right? When I entered here, I was entering as a trader. When I entered, I immediately went to exit as a trader. This is where we need to switch hats. Maybe we need to actually make hats for ourselves so we have a reminder, a physical reminder, right? To put a hat on and say trader. This is where I'm entering the market. I'm a trader, right? Maybe have a white hat with green on it, right? You're a trader. You're good to go. Let's trade. And then you have another hat. As soon as you enter, you take it off, you symbolize, and it says asset manager, and you put them where you're reading them. You pick up the asset manager, you literally pick it up, you're reading it at the same time, you're signaling to your mind through multiple modalities, right? Through sight, through touch, okay? And then you turn around and you pick it up and you put it on. Now you're putting on the hat of the asset manager. You're no longer thinking as a trader, you're thinking as an asset manager. And we can use that as a trigger to structure our actions around it until we don't need those hats anymore because it's become patterned. That's an idea. We might want to write that one down too. Anybody taking notes? I hope so. Oh, God. Mm. Mm. I am on fire and locked in right now. And it's funny because locked in, right? I'm all locked in, just like hyper focused, not seeing anything else. I'm locked in where I'm able to see the big picture and I'm able to determine in my actions what I want to do in the big picture. Seed, are you seeing this? Now, what happens when we come down into this area? This is where I'd be willing to start picking up inventory again, because now I have an edge and now I can start risking or managing risk. In fact, you know what? As a trader in here, I'm too far away. As an asset manager, if I look at this, right, where at, let's really look at this. The low is at 29,560. We're currently at 29,680. Okay, that's almost 100 points. 100 points is $2,000. So 50 points above this low, 50 would be 1,000. I can absolutely assume $1,000 of risk on entry. So if we take this number right down here and we say it is 562, right? 560. So 612. 612 is right out here. Is that only 50 points? Wow. That's my entry area. Pinpoint the entry area based off of the amount of assumed risk on the first lot, right? And now we have 5 or 6 bullets because I built myself something here. So we don't even want to play in this area right now. So we have auctions and we have other things. We're expecting a lot more auctions in here, but we should expect auctions because we should be expecting other time framers involved with higher volume because of the width of the current market, right? So this is really my entry area down here. Is this really only 50 points? That's all. Wow, this market's so wide. No wonder why when I first traded this live, I was down. And then I traded it again and I was down 5,500. I'm not going to be down $5,500 this day. There's just there's no way. And not because I've already traded it, it's because and Seed, you tell me because you watched me demonstrate this on a playback as well. You watched me trade it live, you watched me trade it as a playback, and you're watching me trade it now. Am I Do you see me utilizing knowledge of past information to make my decisions right now? Like, I remember an area, I'm like, you know what, I want to go long here, and it's just kind of random, and maybe I'm remembering areas, or do you see me trading this in a structured way now, but very differently from the way I traded it before? Not because, or do you see me biased because I know what price did before? Or do you see me just structuring information differently, which allows me to act differently? You can just put a 1 or a 2 into answer. 1 would be I'm biased, 2 I'm not biased. Make it easier to answer. I'm not always fluent in my questions. I try to be, but it's hard. I'm trying to wrap a bunch of different ideas into one question that can be difficult for people to answer because it's complex. Because I think in a complex manner. I think Seed's sleeping. He's not with us anymore. Yeah, I'm joking. He went to go get some more coffee. Get a tissue because his ear's bleeding from too much information. Oh, you know what? I'm on live chat through TikTok and I didn't even turn it on. I am sorry, guys. If you're on TikTok, I do apologize that I didn't turn that chat on. If anybody's live, I forgot that I'm live. Trading different, you marked out levels and the overlapping. Yeah. Yeah, which was way different from what I did before. I agree with you on that. The overlapping is a huge difference for me, and we haven't even gotten into the overlapping yet. Um, but I would remember taking positions all through here and different things along those lines, just absolutely getting chopped up. Now the market came down into around this area again, and I could take a position here, but I don't I don't want to because I could put a stop down here and I could risk, $1,200, $1,500, but I'm not here to risk $1,200, $1,500. I'm here to trade around an area, to asset allocate myself into an area. And if I had limitless risk, I would enter here 100%. But only having $5,000 or $6,000 of a static drawdown in this area, I'm not willing to risk that on this little break here. And that tells me another thing that's happening here through this practice and ideology. I'm not looking for areas of entering right now. So I'm not thinking about, oh my God, do I enter here? No, I didn't. Okay, well, why didn't I enter there? I don't know. But now the market's going up, and oh my God, I could miss this move, right? It doesn't even exist inside of my head right now because I'm not thinking about an entry compared to a result. I'm thinking about an entry compared to how I'm going to manage a sized position if the price goes against my initial position. That that one statement immediately shifts my perception, and I feel differently, and I find myself thinking differently right now than I would when I'm normally trading, trying to get positions, trying to be right. I'm no longer trying to be right in my trading. The dollar amount here is no longer about being right, about growing, about anything else. It's about where can I get into a position, and if price goes against me, how can I manage that risk through inventory? How can I price myself into the market knowing that if I do price myself in the market in that area, price action is going to react from that area. I have size on. That's how I'm going to make my money. And I did it because I managed the risk out of the position to begin with, not trying to enter to get a winning position. Two different things. I'm not trading now to make money. The money's going to come. It's going to be an after effect of proper management in the trades. And if I didn't take this trade and I was thinking about making money and this just popped, now I'm hyper focused on this chart, looking for another trade to re enter. So hopefully I can get part of this move. And I'm not thinking that way now. And most of the trades that day were stopped out. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I was just messing with Seed, guys. He's still here. And why Seed? Why Seed of Life? I'm just starting out. This is my first week of actual consecutive live sessions. I went live, had some issues, so I stopped for a little bit, fixed those issues, did another session, still a little more issues, fixed those issues, and now I'm not finding those consecutive issues right now. So now I'm able to stream more consistently. Seed of Life is one of the individuals that came in at the very beginning when when this just first gets started. You never know what's going to happen. If this gets big and I start having 500, 1,000 followers, maybe something along those lines at some point in time because I become aligned to that, um, we're going to remember who Seed of Life was because he's still going to be there, and he was there from the very beginning. And so this is a very special experience for me to have an individual that sees value and wants to spend time, his precious time of his life, the most valuable commodity that he has with me as I'm in the development of this process. And so, as service to him and his time, the only thing that I can do to provide him with a service right now is to extend an invitation for him to choose to spend time with me as I'm developing this process. And Seed of Life is just the individual that decided to show up and manifest in my life at that time frame in order to be able to do this. So if you're watching this at a much later date than June 27th, 2026, that's who Seed of Life is. Hence, Seed. And if you come to the Discord, you can meet him in a different name. Great guy, down to earth, very grateful, great energy, and not a high energy sense of, you're going to be annoying or something like that, like I can be at times because of my high energy. Very, very, very down to earth, with a keen desire to achieve goals in his own life, but and also you can tell a desire to help others get there as well. So come on in. We have a great community of great individuals that, we cultivated from the very beginning. And I can't say we have cultivated the very beginning. That was cultivated for us, that was shared with us at the very beginning that we ended up establishing and cultivating over time. I like that better. Yeah, that's better wording, better verbiage, because it takes me out of the equation of the actual creator of that event. Because I didn't create Seed of Life. I'm glad and grateful to meet up with you. Likewise, Seed. Likewise. Like I said, you're helping me turn this into something much bigger than I could have ever done on my own. Because when you think about it, when you think about human beings, right, most of us do our best work in service of something or someone else. You being here and your desire to learn is making me expand and grow upon into a much larger, grow upon a much larger, um, grow into a much larger image than I ever saw as a possibility before. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's about the best way I can explain it right now. I was looking at streaming, I was looking at teaching in terms of trading and really not teaching, but demonstrating. And then you came on board and you're like, I really want to do this. I want to learn. And now I'm going into the teaching and mixed with the demonstration as well. But I can already tell when you look at my first teaching, what was it, on Tuesday or Wednesday, my very first teaching, right? And demonstration comparatively to now, it's only been 4 or 5 days. And the growth in that, for me, I can see the growth. I can only imagine what that might look like for you guys, because others will see growth in us before we see it in ourselves. And that's a pretty large gap that I'm already seeing. And it's not, and it's something that I'm impressed with myself about or anything else. It's something that I notice and something I'm grateful about. But I also know I wasn't the catalyst to that. It's you. It's Aftershock. It's the individuals that inspire me to do more, to be more, to provide more, to be providing a better service. And that's what's going to make this community grow, because we're growing into it. And you guys are the catalyst for me to do that. And I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't do this without you. So I am a byproduct of the environment that I attracted when I first got started. And the universe blessed me with great individuals for me to get started. And Amar, yeah, Sushi, you're thrown into all of that too. You're a different cat and a different breed, and I will talk about you at some point in time in this stream. That's different though. Different in function and purpose. And so there's nothing for me to talk about in these charts right now. There's nothing for me to explain. And so I don't even have to teach what's happening in this price action. And so you can be left to your own devices to analyze this any way that you want to. I don't have to force auction market theory or an ideology on an individual or anything else. It's not about any of that. It's about, is price going to come into an area that makes sense for me to start coming in and utilizing inventory to get myself into the market? And then if it just goes, how do I use that position to provide me with more inventory in case it comes back into that area? Mind blowing to me. I've never thought of the markets that way until this practice. This moment right here, I've never thought that way about trading or about anything else. I've never had this information before in my brain, ever. It feels so surreal, so relaxing. Just, I care in a sense of, I care enough to show up to do it, but I don't care about what happens as I'm doing it. And in that, there's a surreal sense of freedom. Freedom as in freedom from pressure, freedom from thinking, freedom from trying, freedom from, I've got to do this, to, I am doing it. I am trading. I am an asset manager. And I was busy taking trades here, absolutely. And I was all over the place and I was talking really fast and I was talking much, much louder. My whole energy through all of this was different. I could be taking positions in here. And I'm looking at this now, right? And I'm thinking, okay, objectively, this is an area that I could start participating in the market. Okay. And let me tell you, if I had $40,000, $50,000 of inventory, I would 100% be taking positions in here. In fact, you know what? On this sim, I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I got excited there for a second, and I'm not going to. And this is why. You guys watching this, if you had the inventory, I don't think you would be here. The fact that you're here means that you need to build the inventory. I need to teach this to show people that the inventory can be built, not how to trade it once the inventory is there. Now we're in my area. Now I need to put my trader hat on. How am I going to enter this market and where am I going to enter it around? Do I just buy this area just randomly? No, no. And if this rejects and doesn't get me in, again, that is okay. Because maybe this day just is telling me it's not a good day to be an asset manager. All right. Or a trader or anything else. All right. I need to see some form of rejection down here out of this area. I'm not just blindly buying or selling areas. I don't want to get chewed up. This is about managing assets. We have a really nice, strong down bar down here. Okay. We've only been down here once before. I could index one of these auctions since we haven't been down here before, right? But price action is very, very whippy, and I want to give this time. Now, that's one way of looking at this. The second way of looking at this is, as an asset manager, do I really care about the timing of the market? And once I get to this area in here, it's just time to buy. And when I think about it, look at me, I already put the mouse on. Look, you see how programmed I am in this context? I'm already putting the mouse on the stop loss. And so why did I just enter here? Did I talk myself into a position by doing that? Did I do anything else in that context? No. What I did was I was talking about a concept and I was like, you know what? An asset manager is not going to be worried about timing themselves into the market. If this goes from here, at least you're in a position. If this trades around here, you want to build inventory. Inventory isn't just a risk management system or methodology. It's a way of getting into an area. And I need to start thinking in those terms because those are very different terms than trading in terms of being a trader. Now, again, where can this possibly go to? Well, we're still looking at the 824, but now we have more information up here because price action's been trading up here. And where have we gone? We've gone to the 780s. We've gone to the 800s. There's buyers up there. We haven't tested them. If price action holds this structure in lows after testing these lows down here, I'm anticipating price action to pop up and test these highs. So what I'm going to do is if I can't manage into this position, I'm going to want to come in here as these highs are tested, and I'm going to lock in a potential profit of $3,500 on this trade. Am I going to try to get out? Oh, damn it. Am I going to try to get out at these highs or above these highs? No, I want to get out right below these buyers are because that's where I'm anticipating auction to test. Not as a trader, as an asset manager, right? I want to be out before I want the inventory of those buyers to pull me out of the market. And the inventory doesn't pull you out of the market above that area. It pulls you out of the market right before that area because you don't know what price action is going to do before it, but you can anticipate what you can't do. You can't predict what it's going to do after that area, but you can formulate a plan that that area can attract through the auction. Now we're down 500. We have a seller in here and we have a buyer in here and an auction. I can immediately buy this now, right now, if I want to, but I don't because my cartridges are not for entering this position now. I've already taken on the entry at that time. Okay. But if we get back above here, this could have been a better entry and I wouldn't have had as much pullback. What I need to do is think of this in terms of overall risk management. I'm now down 1,400. I have $6,000 in risk management here. This market can go way down. I don't want to pick up I don't want to try to catch a falling knife. I'm going to get stabbed, right? What I need to do is wait for this market to cycle through to come down to show me that I have a pullback and a reason to bring this back down again. And why? Because it's starting to turn into a trend. We're not in a trend here. This is a breakout. That's all this is a breakout. This is a market shift. One of the most difficult things for me to trade, and I've mentioned this multiple times in my streams, is trying to change or trying to trade a market shift is the most difficult market condition for me to trade. And that's all this is a shift. If it was a trend, it would just start going, okay? We just got below initial balance here. We're just testing this area. We're not doing anything else yet. I don't want to pick up inventory yet. Not yet. Now, if this holds and starts to come down through here, now I can pick up some inventory. But not yet. I have initial position in case it decides to run, just like I did before. Seed, do you feel like this is valuable, like I'm onto something, or do you just feel like I'm just being a crazy head right now and just talking nonsense? How is it coming across to the viewer, to the individual that wants to learn, that desires to learn? Is this helpful? Now, if I was in a couple of contracts down here because I was able to get into inventory, right? If I had a couple of contracts, I would be looking at that area of $1,200 again or so, or probably up here. I'd be putting a limit order probably right below these buyers here, anticipating them to be tested, just to get out with some of the inventory so we don't have the full risk on the position in case it decides to rotate lower. Is this more helpful to you than the prior session we did on this, or was a prior session more helpful for you? Which one do you find is more value to you? And it might be both, because the first one really showed the auctions in a very powerful and meaningful way, and how price action trade around those auctions. This is showing how to trade around volatility. I think that might be two different things. And in order for me to be able to shift here, I'm going to have to recognize volatility before it happens. And I'm actually pretty good at that at the live edge. If I remember right, and you tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Tony, this is valuable to me in a way I can't express to you now, but to show up, okay? And do you remember the first time we went through this? Did I recognize high volatility? Did I talk about that in that demonstration? I believe I did, but I don't know if I'm biased to new information. Did I mention the volatility? Could you see that I could see volatility in the market and be able to switch to this type of trading in a high volatility market? Or am I just lying to myself basically and hiding that information? Does that question come across properly? Is in order to be able to do the asset management like this, right, I need to know that high volatility is going to exist. I'm already biased knowing that this is a high volatility day because I've already traded it before and I remember. but do you remember me talking about it being high volatility and hard trading? And did I mention that before this entry? Both of them, because we got outcomes and learned from them. Exactly. That's just the key, right? That's how the practice works. That's the demonstration itself, right? I don't I don't think I could have come into this day here with this mindset to be able to see that we can have a static drawdown, to really understand trailing high water drawdowns and prop accounts comparatively to static drawdowns. I needed this day the first time to get to that information. Then once I found that information, that led to this style of trading for here. Now the question is, did I see that style of trading? Did I see the trigger to this style of trading before I started taking entries like this? Or am I biased to a high volatility and I'm creating this based upon a biased sense of volatility instead of a real-time sense of volatility? And I think my trigger is this. Wide day, different in my whole analysis, but was my analysis biased? Do you see what I'm saying? And if I remember right, when we demonstrated this before, I'm like, wow, this is just a high volatility day. This is a very tough day. But I don't remember when I started saying that. Was it before I started taking entries like this, or was it after? Because if it was before, I can read market tempo and volatility, and I can naturally do this. If not, I need something to tell me that it's volatile. The volatility is there beforehand. Do you see what I'm asking? Yes, mostly when you were recovering, you were demonstrating the volume while in a trade. Right. Demonstrating the volume while in a trade. Correct. But did I talk about volatility at all? Like, today is a high volatile day. Be careful. Anything along those lines. I'll have to go back and replay it possibly to get that answer in my own head and see where that triggered for me. Because there's no sense, right? And this is why I'm asking this question. Because in this practice, right, if I'm previously biased to something I'm looking at, that doesn't mean that I see it real time. And if I don't see it at the live edge and I can't experience or express it and let it trigger what I'm going to do at the live edge, then what I'm actually doing is, and I'm going to use the word lying because I don't know another word to use. I'm lying to myself in the practice, and that means the practice will be less valuable at the live edge later on, and I don't want to do that. And as you can tell here, we don't need inventory to make money in the markets. We don't need large amounts of contracts to make money in the markets. We don't need size to make money in the markets. We need size to manage our risk. Now, if the market is in a very, very tight range, now we need size to make money in the markets. But guess what? We're really only using size to still manage the risk because we're in a rotational market. It's coming against us a little bit. And we're adding into the position because the market, we're not expecting it to move as far. And high volatility, you're expecting the market to move, to extend ranges, to test areas, because there's confusion in the market, right? We need to give it room, not add into it, give it room. Stop trying to be so precise in our entries and be correct and be right in our entry criteria in these wide markets. And I noticed the wide market is before we even started trading, and that's my answer. Yes, I can. That's what I needed to know. Yeah. Yeah. This is what it means to develop. And it's funny, right? Because developing doesn't happen in grind. Because you're forcing yourself to take the action, you're not open to new information. When you're open to the action, because You're learning because you want to be there, because you're showing up to actively participate. You actively receive information, not because you change something, because the nervous system rewires itself to be open to that information because you're now open to it. Human development that can be applied to any function, any intention that a person has, because the nervous system is structurally the same for each of us because it's biology. The makeup of it is different, but the structure is the same. So it doesn't matter if we're demonstrating it here, or it doesn't matter if we're demonstrating it in, let's say, a musical instrument or something like that, right? It's the demonstration still leads to the same result, either way you look at it. Because the process is the same for each one of us, because our brains, our nervous systems work the same for each one of us. Now, in this case here, right, we have a seller coming in here pretty close to this area. I don't care. Let this rotate back against me. It's fine, right? Because we have buyers up here. We haven't tested those buyers. We've already established our low. If price action starts to really pull back here, I might do something with this position. But I'm not going to mess with this right now with new information. I had my reasonings down here, and I'm not going to let this new information right now bias me at the moment. I might at some point, but there's no reason to right now. Now, what I could do if I wanted to is wait to see if the market can come up here, possibly move my stop down to here, just to lock in the revenue that is there and not give it all back. And when I think about that, that is actually a very wise thing to do. And this is why. Because as an asset manager, we're not here thinking about revenue, thinking about as much as we can make. We are here to take risk out of the market. And I didn't say, oh, there's an auction, I'm getting out, right? I'm looking for areas now because we're close. It goes to the idea of, do you want to be a dick for a tick, right? And I apologize for my language, but think about it. Do you want to be a dick for a tick? If price action's coming up here and you're getting more information saying, hey, look, we could be rejecting lower highs, do you really want to hold on to the full risk of a position when you're up a certain amount, right? We're here to collect inventory. I almost doubled my inventory in 2 trades. In 2 trades in a highly volatile market, where another form of trading that I utilize, right, in ranged markets that don't work well in this high volatility market condition. We know we don't. I was down 5,500 and I had so many trades. I can't even tell you how many trades I had. And almost every single one of them was an expense. Where today, I wasn't even really hunting for entries. I just let the market come into areas and decided to trade around those areas. I did define them a little bit, right? I defined them in the context of one of the first auctions in this area. In case we don't come back down here, I am willing to do an entry. I could have waited for the pullback and then an entry. That would have been better. And then, so then I got out of that because I just wanted to pick up more inventory. The market gave it to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then as it came down in here, right, I didn't, I don't think I entered in here, did I? I know I entered over here. No, I didn't because I was already in the market. I didn't wait for the pullback. And so this was the market coming against me, but it didn't come down so far that I had to get inventory to get myself out because I got to save my cartridges because I only have 5. And then the market turns around, breaks through the area, comes all the way down, right? And I had a reason to enter in here, and I did. Price action extended and came against me. Didn't have reasons to get back out again or get back in because there's no reasons to actually do inventory in here yet because I only have 5 cartridges. And the market came up. I'm anticipating it to come up and test buyers because now we've tested sellers and sold and we've traded below, and price action is not able to go lower. So we're going to come back and test highs. And I didn't put my stop or my exit above the highs or above the buyers, right below the buyers, to allow myself to allow the extra movement to test in here to pull me out of the market, not up here hoping and guessing that the buyers will get strong again. And I'm up $4,800 in 2 trades, trading 1 lots. And the market never went against me $2,000 on an extremely volatile day that was extremely difficult for me to trade before. Okay. Okay. What are we going to do next? I can only go back to March, unfortunately. This day right here. What day is this? Is this a holiday? April 26th. You see what I'm doing here? I want a low range day. We just did the highest range day and this worked out perfectly. Now, can I shift to a very, very low range day? Because if I can do anything in between. And this is the lowest range day that I can find where I have data. This is April 9th. It's even, is this range here lower than this range? It looks like it. Oh, wait. Look at April 2nd. Look at this day. What happened here? This is April 2nd. I can get April 2nd. That's the lowest range day. Oh, yeah. That you're my huckleberry. You are exactly the one that I want. We're doing 0930. We're doing this and see, go ahead and head out anytime you need to. Um I just really appreciate you being here, community, right? It's so much easier and so much more resonant when you do something with somebody else like this that really wants, that has the passion of the same passion in something as you have. There's just something about community, and humanity works better within community. So I appreciate you being here, but if you have other things to do this morning, you go right ahead. I do have to head out here in about an hour and a half. But I still have time, and I'm going to utilize that time for a low range day market. I want to do the same exact thing that I just did in a low range market and see if I can get the same results or the same type of results. Man, that was fun. That was fun. Completely different trading day, wasn't it? Okay. Now here we are on April 2nd. And what we have here on April 2nd is this little area in here. I'm going to start to put these together because it really does help to see them merge together than it is to try to pinpoint areas without them. And all of these are pretty much wrapped into the same one. But we're going to maintain consistency in this. And I'm saying consistency because this is our current. This is our most recent dynamic. This day right here, would be fun to trade as well, the 31st. Why? Because it stayed within the range of unfair highs the whole day. And then we don't, this, as this day is developing, we can't say that these are the areas that we don't want to trade in. And the reason why we can't say that is because this is static, or this is dynamic, this is static. But as it's growing, we could adjust those times. And now we're only getting in at the edges of value of the range. And in a tight range day, that's exactly what you want, because you want to be trading the cycle of the market. And now you're targeting unfair highs and unfair lows. Holy shit. Oh, I'm on a whole nother level. So on this day here, oh my God, I can only imagine what this day is going to be like right now. So on this day here, in the beginning, at the open, this is my area not to trade. That's my area not to trade. And then I turn around and I have this area here, which is my buyers. No, I'm just going to go something to drink and come back. Beautiful. Let me know when you're back. Take your time. How it was like a new or following day. Yeah, I know. I know. This is just a very surreal experience for me right now. I can't explain it otherwise. Oh, I made this green. No. This needs to be red. Okay, wait. Let me think here. Let me think. This is where buyers are. This is where sellers are. We have balance in here. We have balance in here. We have balance in here. We have unfair highs in here. Unfair highs is selling. Unfair highs is selling. Unfair highs are selling. We don't have anything here at all telling us not to, because we're all in unfair highs. So this becomes our area to short. Sorry, I'm feeling like my whole understanding of the markets is kind of changing here a little bit, and in a very, very good way. And I'm just trying to put all of the new information together right now. So bear with me in this process. I promise that I'm not all over the map. I promise that I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm actually developing something that has the possibility of being extremely special. I hope that doesn't sound conceited. Look at that. Are you back? I don't want to move forward until I'm back. I don't want to move forward until you're back. This is where the buyers are. 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 This is where value is. This is the value area high. Buyers, sellers. sellers, sellers, buyers. Price action comes down, rejects, and moves higher. Price action opens, comes up, rejects, trades through the buying pressure, trades through the buying. Unfair lows, rejection. Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to break a rule. And I'm going to break a rule. I don't know if I want to break a rule, but on this particular day, I'm going to break a rule. And this is why. Here, you shouldn't be trading. It should be red because you have buying here and you have selling here. But this day changed that. I'm going to show you why this day changed it. Because we have a double distribution with a possible trending down market condition. Why? Because volume is actually engaged down here, which means that price action is probably going to continue down on this day. And so when you put this into a chart that I can actually draw on, it looks something like this. I believe this is my day here. I need a way to transfer this information over, and I need a way to draw on this, and this is why. Price action is facilitating lower, anticipation lower. You're going to come into this area. Yes, the buy is here, but you know what? This is where your low volume is, and then down. And the other thing that I noticed too is I didn't even index low volume nodes and unfair lows or unfair highs at all the other day. Telling me that do I even need to get that granular in my trading plan? We're going to move this chart over here right now, and we're going to watch this chart develop. I don't need to pay too much attention over here because I don't really care what the auction is doing here. I care what the auction is doing here. And I really have a feeling that we're going to come up and test into these unfair lows. I have a feeling that we're going to, or unfair highs, excuse me. Well, unfair highs and unfair lows, right? I feel like we're going to test into this area, the unfair high, unfair low little developing area, and reject and retest the volume lower that will possibly put us back down into IB low. Because of this, the way that of the shape of this developing profile. In other words, it's going to cycle back up here and test back down here, or reject in here. I can see this day being and I know it was because I picked it, but I see this day as being a very narrow day. Very narrow day. This is rotational. This is going to be a rotational day. I want to trade with an IB within this vision here. And if the IB high is within the rotation of this area, this is not a rotation that I don't want to do business in. This is the rotation I want to do business in. This is not a red area. This is a green go area. Oh, let's go. I'm excited for this day now. This is an interesting take. This is an interesting view. Again, the bias of knowing that this is a low range day, does that affect how I'm doing my analysis? And I don't think so, because I put these in here and then I'm like, this is going to be a low range day. I'm like, of course it's a low range day. I picked it. I didn't think about it being a low day range before. See how I'm cognizant of this information to make sure that the practice is as unbiased as possible, so that it can be used in the future in the same manner that it was used now. Because there's no sense in practicing if you're not going to be consistent. And the only way you really know is to have a high range day that just happens on the right edge of the charts, the live edge of the chart, right? Because everything that happens on this right hand side is the live edge. Anything that happened over here, you can just go back and you could take a look at. And the way you manage, the way you view this information, this is the past, right? Think about life. This is the past. This is the present moment. This is the future. We need to be in the present moment to act within the present moment. Because if we're associated with the past, we're going to review the present moment based upon the views of this and what happened, and our experiences and our mindset here is going to be established in here. But if we separate ourselves from this, now we're free to act in here. But if we act in here with fear towards the future, that fear is going to come into the present moment, which is going to trigger all of this stuff and bring it back into the present moment. And if we lie to ourselves in practice, it's going to show up as fear, because we're not going to have confidence in the present moment. We're going to have inconsistency in the present moment. And that's going to trigger all of the past stuff and bring it into the present moment. Trading might just be the best analogy ever for human development. Okay, I only have about an hour left. I'm going to be able to come back and do this, but I'm going to fast forward this. I'm going to show everybody that I'm fast forwarding it, right? It's currently what time is it here? 9:36. Okay. Waiting for 9:45. Price action's already trading lower, expanding that lower area. I'm not even looking for longs until way the hell down here. I'm only looking for shorts in here. Do I want to buy here? Do I want to buy here? Above? No, that's the market shift. I don't trade those well anyhow. I don't want to take the risk of that. Not in an uptrending market. I don't want to take the risk of trying to buy this market today. Am I just going to be a directional trader today on the short side with a bias? It's not like me. And I'm not questioning these things as in now I don't know what to do. I'm questioning them because I'm kind of in awe. The way that I'm structuring this whole dynamic at the moment is so different from any other way that I've ever looked at trading, and it's kind of, it's like I'm questioning, do I trust it or not? And knowing that I'm kind of questioning the ideology a little bit, I feel the tension in my solar plexus and I feel it rising into my heart area. It's like a ball of dread, like a lead ball sitting in my solar plexus, and it's like radiating that deep lead feeling that's moving up into my heart and into my chest area. And I recognize that here at the live edge. But when I don't release it, I go back to the trust of the analysis itself. As soon as I say the trust of analysis, that dread comes back, the lead comes back. I'm sorry, you said you were back and I went through. I didn't stop. I thought you were, I forgot that I said that. I was on a train of thought. Did you see any of this as I was developing it, or were you gone for that? But when I go back into the trust of the analysis and just settling in the trust of the analysis, the lead fades away and it's replaced with more of not an emptiness, and almost like a knowing, where it's just like it's okay. It's all okay. And so I'm going to trade this day as a biasness to the downside, and I'm not even going to try to go long. If this market breaks up and comes back down into the long and goes, I don't care. I'm not going to go long because this is telling me short and this is telling me long. But I'm not going to block out this area because I'm anticipating to come up here to be a rotational day. Not because I know it's a rotational day, because this is telling me it's a rotational day. Double distribution, unfair low volume nodes all through here, rejection. I could go off of, this is another thing I could do. Oh, this is it. This is the answer I was looking for. This is actually current market condition. I can't trade it yet. In these lows here, oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. See, if there's a level of confusion and you continue to move into the lack of clarity, not confusion, there's a lack of clarity, and you continue to move into the lack of clarity, the answer will develop itself. I don't even need this chart today. I don't even need this chart. This is not a chart that I need. What I need is this chart here. And this chart here. That's okay. That's okay. I actually think it worked out perfectly. I think it worked out perfectly because I just had my aha moment. Building this, there was a little bit of a lack of clarity, not confusion, a lack of clarity. Okay. I wasn't confused about what price was telling me or what was going on, right? It's a lack of clarity because I have a double structure here that usually would be red and we're not going to do. I'm not doing that here. I am 100% biased to the downside, and I'm going to use a dynamic level for my longs. A dynamic level that the longs are good as long as we're established in this area right here. And anything up in here, I'm looking for short positions. And more biased short than I am anything else. We have a double area here. We got unfair highs here and we have unfair lows down here from the prior profile. Hard to see, but you can see it now. Unfair lows, unfair highs. Let me pause this. I don't want to miss this. Unfair lows, unfair highs. This should be a no trading zone, right? It should be, right? I'm not making this an no trading zone right now. Okay, and this is why. This profile is a double distribution profile. Price action can absolutely come back and test up here, most definitely. Okay, but more volume has traded down here. I'm anticipating rotation. And so I want to be short in this area, not long, short. I want to be short in this area if it does come up here. Okay? That's the risk. It can come up and it can pop up, right? And I'm going to have to manage the risk if I'm short in here. But I'm anticipating price action to come back down into this area, retest down here, reject, and move back up. And this is our rotational area. I'm anticipating this day to be in here, not because I know that this day is a low range rotational day, because price action, or this is the portfolio, the profiles are telling me it's going to. But again, because I knew it was a low ranging day beforehand, is that information biased to the way I'm building my plan? And we're not going to know that until we bring this back to the live edge. This is why I wanted somebody else to pick the date yesterday. I didn't want any bias. Does that make sense? I'm actually trading the double distribution of this day. And to do that, I have to be willing to go short in this area we would normally say no to, because of the B shape of this profile. The B shape of the profile with the volume distributing lower, that's the magnet, that's the rotation. And this is the set rotation. Now let's see if we get up into the high. Eight 5 2. 818. 852 is up here. I'm anticipating this price to come up here. I don't want to buy it because there's too much risk to the downside, because we can be rotational to the downside because we're not breaking higher highs, right? We can go down and we can test the lows. I'm not buying this. Even though I'm anticipating price action to come all the way up to the 52s, I'm not buying this. Because I don't have the inventory to be able to cycle through the risk of it coming back down near IB low. And we know that with the volatility of the markets, and we can still see the volatility markets of the past markets, that a 1 bar cycle like that is 100% possible. And I'm going to let this go. Because I don't need to be in every move. I need to be in the right moves. I need to be in the right areas. And this is not an area for me. And this is actually really showing 84675, isn't it? God, it's so difficult. Wait, you know what? Will this tell me what it is? No, it's just telling me volume. Now, price action is here. We've traded above it. Beautiful. We are in a trending market condition higher right now. I don't want to fade this trend up here. I want to wait. I want to wait for it to establish. All I have is buyers. I need an auction. I need an auction and I need to see rotation. And then it's going to be time to short. But not yet. But I'm in my area. I'm in my wheelhouse. I'm exactly where I want to be. Is there a stats on this? Is there a way of marking this with numbers? And if so, I really wanted to get into that there. But I remembered I need to see an auction. I need to see sellers. We're in an imbalanced market condition higher on the short term chart. I can't call a top here. I just can't. I may have room for asset allocation up here. Oh, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to sit on my hands and I'm going to wait. I'm going to be a good hunter and I'm waiting. It's like I could take the shot, but it's risky to the animal. The animal could be injured, and I'm not I'm not going to take that risk because being human about it is more important than having the opportunity to send a cartridge downrange. I need to wait for sellers to come into this market. And this is a market shift right now, the hardest thing that I can possibly trade. And buyers are doing nothing. There's just nothing. This is an imbalanced market condition higher. And I'm not in an area to be able to trade an imbalanced market condition higher yet. I'm not there. Could you imagine if we picked up inventory there? And do we see how we have no sellers here? None. There are no sellers here at all. It is all blue. There are no sellers anywhere to be had. Imbalanced market condition higher. This is a trend day. See the power of bias? See, bias can keep you from seeing what you should be doing, which is coming through this area with the buyers and buying it because you have a bias to the downside. Not that there's anything wrong with it because I've stayed out of the market, not because I've missed anything, but because if we're going to trade, we have to be able to understand trading. Now we have our first seller stepping into the market. Now we're really in our area of overlapping. Of sellers and buyers on this ledge. Okay, beautiful. Yes, let's go ahead and get into our inventory. This is perfect. This is a trend day. We have a trend day and we have inventory. This is the best thing we could possibly be doing right now. Asset managers on a trend day, a bias to the downside in an overlapping area, which we would say usually don't even trade. And I decided to get myself involved in it anyhow. This is brilliant. What a great example. Down about $485. Fine. There's no reason to add cartridges in that condition. Wait. We're not at risk. We've got $5,000 in static drawdown. We've got plenty of room here. But this is the first time that we got sellers. And I'm not just trading because we've got sellers and I'm anticipating rejection. I have an area now that I can asset manage myself into because this is the first time sellers have devoted themselves and I'm in an area that I've already marked for potential shorts. And a trending market condition higher. I'm freaking nuts. Everything as a trader right now is telling me that you're crazy. Everything as an asset manager right now is telling me, you know what? This is amazing. And I've got my hat on right now of asset manager. I don't have my hat of trader. The trader in me is not happy. The asset manager in me is saying chill. We need inventory this morning. We need inventory. We need to increase our inventory. This is the logical place for a pullback to come back to. We have to remember that we're in an uptrend. We have to remember that an uptrend is established on a shorter time frame chart. It's not being supported right now in the longer terms because we are trading here in value. Okay. But we have to be cognizant of current market condition. We can't forget about the short time frame because the short time frame staying in a sustained trend is going to pull our longer time frames into a sustained trend. Okay. We are going counter to that trend right now. All right. And so we've got to be cognizant of that. And we have no rotation in here. We don't have anything else. But as sellers are getting involved, the logical place is for buyers to step in. And this is the most logical and the widest place that we can have of picking up added inventory this morning. I don't have it way down here. I'm giving this a little bit of room because I'm recognizing the upside potential of this. And when I was hesitating of putting it in here, I was thinking about putting it one tick above here just in case we broke this low. Because that's where we would really find buyers, and I didn't. and that's okay. And price action's now starting to cycle against me a little bit. We may not come back down to test this if this is actually going to be a trend day. But this gives me a perfect opportunity, though, to test the asset management. As you can tell, I'm not getting in on the contracts right now. I'm not doing anything to manage the risk because I'm not even at risk. I'm not moving my stop to break even. I'm simply looking for this as an area to generate more inventory. Because I want to use that inventory to sell later. If the opportunity presents itself. Now it sounds like I'm more logistics than actual economics or trading. And it's not about supply and demand. It's about using my supply, my inventory, in the right ways. Yeah, exactly. We need to save the bullets. Exactly. Got to save those cartridges. I don't want to trigger anybody in the context of bullets and stuff. I was in the military. I'm fine with that. So I'm going to use the word cartridges. Other people can use bullets. I'm not going to change anybody's other language. Anybody can use the language that works for them. I need to be cognizant of my responsibility to people here. If I want to help demonstrate and speak to individuals, I have to understand individuals at a very deep level. I have to understand human beings at a very deep level. And individuals that want to come in and work on something like this, they have a desire to learn. But since they have a desire to learn, that also means that they're not doing it and they're not capable of doing it right now. I don't want to trigger the lack of capability. Again, that does not mean anybody else has to do it, right? And I was looking at getting back in here with the sellers, right? But price actions are really, really wide at the moment to the long side, and I don't want to reestablish myself until we have a little bit more information. And then the buyers came in, and now I'm just sitting on my hands waiting. I'm completely on the wrong side of the market today in the context of my analysis. I was looking short when the market's doing nothing but going up. And I took the only position I possibly could have for revenue. And I got out at the only place I could have possibly gotten out of to achieve revenue, almost to the tick. And I hit my goal of picking up more inventory. Honestly, guys, right now I'm having a hard time processing this at the moment because I'm just kind of in awe. I'm not in awe of the results. I'm not in awe of like, oh, I'm amazing, right? I'm in awe of how this is all coming together right now. I'm almost shaking. It's like this is just so surreal for me at the moment, and I'm completely lost for words. I'm even having kind of a hard time structuring in present moment what I really want to establish and do here in this market context because I'm really in awe of what's happening here, what the feedback the universe is giving me right now in the context of what it is that I am doing. Immediately picked up that stop again. Did you see that? Okay, this position has a high probability of hurting us. This is not a good position to be in right now. Knowing that, as an asset manager, I have to limit risk as much as possible. I'm going to break this in right now, and I just want to be out of this market if it's going to give it to me. I don't want to be in this. Thank you. Thank you for giving me that opportunity. I'll reassess later. Now, why did I do that? I did that because price action is not moving favorably in this direction. We are in a trend condition, and I am trying to fade that trend. Am I in an area where I'm looking at potential shorts in here? Yes. But as an asset manager, there's a lot of risk to me right now to the upside. I'm in a trending, biased up, way off of initial balance, and now we have our sellers coming in. Beautiful. Now we got a momentum to the downside. Okay. Now I'm comfortable being into this position and adding cartridges into this position, much more so than I was before. Because of the strength in here, we're showing the strength of the highs up here. We're rotating back down. We have a seller down here. This could be a stuck seller, and we can easily come up into these highs. But we rejected again when this bar closed. We didn't break that high at all. We came up open, tried to go higher, couldn't off of this area right above the sellers, and we got back down below the sellers again. It's time to short. Do we have a buyer in here now? Absolutely. Now we're rotational, but I can manage the risk. I can manage the risk in this position now because now I'm still anticipating and seeing that we have rejection above us, and I can manage the risk accordingly. Seed, am I making sense to you here? Do you feel like I'm kind of all over the map? Is it hard to follow what it is that I am doing? As a perspective of a student wanting to learn, what is your experience of this right now? Will this be helpful to other viewers, or will it be confusing to them? And that's exactly what I was afraid of was going to happen over here, why I wanted to be out of the position to begin with. Now we're down 700, right? We have another auction up here, which is absolutely beautiful. Price actions continued to move up. We have our upper range up here where we're looking to short again into the, oh, we're going to call it the 24,000, right? So at 24,000, I have plenty room for inventory. We're only going to be down about $1,500 at that point. I could add a contract. I can add 2 contracts if it starts to go against us. This is where I want to start adding into positions, is up here in this range. Right now, we're just going to assume the risk on the position itself based upon the bias. Now, what I could do if I don't like the position, but we have so many auctions in here, right? I could go ahead and succinctly right now buy 4. Just boom, 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 boom. That's going to push this up almost right here to this area. And as soon as it came across it and below it, already have a target profit in there of 4 and be out of the position. Okay. That's how I could exit this if I really wanted to exit it. All right. Especially with it being so close to price. If I really didn't like this area anymore and I didn't want to be in it, that's exactly what I could do to get myself out of the position right now. without a hit, without an expense. But I'm not seeing the need to do that yet. And I really want to be patient with this market because I want to see what it does and I want to be in it. Because I really feel like the universe is trying to give me information here. And it wants me to be in this market right now. To either show that this area doesn't always have to be red, or to show me to say more consistent with the plans. And of course, one day isn't enough to make that decision. But this is practice. And I really feel like the universe is trying to say, hey, we need to show you something here to make this practice more meaningful. Because I don't think that this is just going to go in my favor. In other words, I don't think this is just going to drop here. Something's going to happen and I'm going to need to make decisions. And those decisions that I make is going to affect how I'm building this whole scenario and situation out. And I can't tell you why I feel that. I just do. No, I haven't yet. I'm sorry. I apologize. Was that on Discord? What text? I don't see a text in Discord either. I see we need to save the bullets. And I see I was gone and I am back. But I didn't see anything else. Pazlinks, welcome. Welcome. Working on developing an asset management and trading methodology to work within the constraints of prop firms. That's exactly what I was looking for. This is the information I was looking for. This is what I needed because this is going to tell me that this is a trend. Can I get myself out of it? We're coming against it now. I'm going to get highly aggressive. Now we're in 3. Okay, we're risking a lot more. I need to be out of this market because this market is not behaving in a way that I want to be in it anymore. And now we're out and we're back through it. I'm going to flatten it. I'm done. 1,050 on the day, completely going bias on the day, completely against market movement and conditions. Came directly up into the unfair highs and lows, an area I normally say not to trade in, comes up against us over 1,000. I used three cartridges, used 3 cartridges to get myself out of a trade underwater by $1,200 to $1,700, and I don't remember what it was. I'll have to replay it. I told you the universe wanted to give me information here. And I don't even remember why I made this box up here before we even got there. I don't remember. But that box was there for a purpose and a reason. I just don't remember why I drew it. So you make sense in a way that people won't struggle to learn the whole concept. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I knew the universe wanted to give me information. I knew I was going against overall trend. Not trading an overlapping value, great idea. Or going in direction of overlapping value in terms of a trend. But being completely wrong in the market, having completely against biased direction, a much wider condition of market than I thought it was going to be today. Maybe I picked the wrong day, even though I thought I was going to be on the right day. I don't know what happened there. But this was not what I expected when I looked at the profile and picked this day. I just completely went counter trend, completely against counter trend. Should be stopped out with an expense day, possibly even blew up a prop account. And I got myself out of it because of my hat of asset management and not a trader. And I couldn't have gotten out at a better price. And it only took me 4 cartridges to do it. Holy shit. Excuse my language, but oh my God. I can trade profitably and never be right again in terms of direction. Ever. Let me rephrase that. I have the capability of never being right about direction again and still have the opportunity to be profitable. Do you have any idea how powerful that is for a retail trader to have that understanding? I'm going to test the universe right now. I'm going to test the universe because I remember something I learned about something that somebody says about themselves. Test me. Test me. And I'm not talking about myself here. And Seed, I think you have an idea of what it is that I am saying here. Test me. Do you remember that concept from the place that I'm referring to without actually saying it? This is insane, is it not, Seed? I mean, seriously insane. This shouldn't be possible. Why am I not doing it here? I'm down 1800. Why am I not doing it here? Because the pullback isn't present. The pullback is now. Now we have momentum. There's 4. Now I'm in a quantity of 15. Well, that doesn't help. Because now I just traded outside. Okay. What time is this? 10:22. 10:22 and I was entered down here. Down here. Let's do this again. I need 10:22. I need to reset this because I changed my quantity to get out of that one position. And I just added a bunch. There are 15 contracts. That's outside of the rules. We got to go back and redo it. I can't use that as a valid experience in this experiment because that was invalid data. Now I'm acting like a good scientist. What time was that? 10:22. So let's run this back to 10:18 just to make sure we get let's run it back to 10:15 to make sure that we get the right 10:10. I want to make sure we get the right the right entry, the right everything. Because I need to test this properly within the constraints that we have. I can't get outside of the constraints because then it's not going to help anybody. And I think, were we already in this area? You have to help me out. Were we already in this area, Seed, or were we below it on the entry? You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and enter here off of this right there. I'm entering here again. No stop, no anything else. And I want this thing to rotate against me. And I'm only in one now. Only in one. Don't have three up there. I only have one. I got to test this with the amount of bullets that we have available to us. And I think I was in a little bit lower because I don't think I went into revenue in the position. But that's fine. It's close enough. We're not that far out of the wheelhouse. It won't affect the experiment in a negative way. We need to wait for this to pop. Wait for the pullback to come back down again. And I can only hit the button 4 times. Only 4 times because we can have a max of 5. See, am I following the experiment properly here? The entry is higher? Is that what you're saying? That's okay. Let's make the entry lower. It's even better. Better experiment now than it was before. If the entry was higher. Now it just has to go even that much further. Was this the entry right here? Yeah, I think so. Somewhere down there, maybe. Okay, we're getting ready now. It's come against us. We're now $700 against. Okay. The last entry. Okay. Here we go. Now it's coming against us, right? Now I'm in 3. I can do 4, right? I'm going to get ready and flatten this. A little bit more because I don't want to take an expense on this. So I'm going to go ahead and get into my 5th. Now I'm in 5. Now I'm stuck. This is a great experiment. There we go, flatten. Beautiful. 155. Just made $155 in revenue on that position. So there's the first cycle. Now let's see if we get the second one. And I was only in with 5. Did we enter up here, seed, or did we enter down here? Man, I really wish I had that exact. I might have to play this back and try it again because I really wish we had that exact. That's right, because we were in here, weren't we? Because I was looking at this and this is right before it broke. This is right before it broke. So let's go ahead and go short here. Beautiful. This was before it broke because this was all of that stuff I was already in back here somewhere else. And now let's wait for the break. And we only have 4. Ooh, I don't know if this is going to work out very well. I don't know if this is going to work out very well at all. But it's an experiment. We got to let it play out. I'm like a little trepidatious right now. I got my hands are a little sweaty because I know this thing is about ready to go against us big time, right? I know that because it just happened. And I'm like, why am I in this short right now? Okay. Remember the meaning to all of this. We know it's going to come against us. We're in this for a reason right now. This is to test the theory. Let it pop, go all the way up, wait for the pullback. We have to be as high of the pullback as possible because we need to get in and cycle in at the highest areas as possible on the pullback to get the most force of our cartridges that we're going to drop off. And we're going to need all of our cartridges because we need price to increase as much as possible because we have to try to get our entry above this area because this is where they're probably going to cycle back to. And if we can't, we're in trouble. And so maybe this is the actual answer of getting out of the position here. I just ruined it because I did that and it didn't come back. But I just tried an idea and it didn't come back from that. So now I got to run it back again because I just messed it up again. But that was 1016. So I can run it back to 1015. I can still have my entry down there. That's fine. But I'm not going to cycle it back at this time. I will wait. But it's not going to push price up that much. Oh, wait. There. It's not going to push price up that much. At least from that perspective, we do have to have more room. So that little experiment I just ran was good. Oh, we're still in 5 here. That's where I already hit the 5. Oh, good. That means that tells me if it's open, I can go back to 13 before I did that, and we should have our same. I should be able to go back to 13. If I hit reset and then set, the entry should still be there because I didn't exit the entry. That's good to know on a playback. I didn't even know that was possible to do. That's different from almost any other playback I've ever seen before. Another reason to really enjoy this process. Nope, this is wrong now. Oh man, did I run it? Did I break it? Did I break it? I hope not. Oh look, we're still open quantity of 5. That doesn't make any sense. Ugh, dang it. I tried. But that's good though, because price action didn't move far enough away from us. So let's go back to the 1010. I'm sorry guys, I keep going back and forth. Okay. Now, are we in the right place? We are not. So now I need to reset again and hit set. Oh, because the price, that chart is still going through. Damn it. I'm starting to run out of time. I gotta go here in a few minutes, unfortunately. I really hope we can get through this one before I do. It's still showing an open quantity of 5. I'm going to have to get out of that position is why. Okay, that's fine. Let's just get out of the position. Don't even worry about this right now. I need to be in lower. I need to be in lower. I need to be in lower. How far are we away from that? I need to be in down in here. That's fine. That's probably the lowest price I'm going to be able to get right now. We're just going to go ahead and run this through. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I am going to run out of time. And we can play this back later too, just to make sure that it's correct. Now here's the move. Here's the move. And I think I was entered down in here, so it's not quite perfect. But not yet. I've got to wait for so here's the thing, right? If we're going to do an asset management to this, okay, we need to be adding positions at the highest prices possible to give us the biggest lift of our entry. Yep. I remember this. And I think I'm actually in a lot lower than I was before because this is where I was like, okay, price action could actually go in our favor. Then all of a sudden it just screams higher. Yep. Okay, so I'm actually in a lower price, a much worse price than I was to begin with. Oh, this is even better. Okay, now here we go. Here's our move higher. This is where we start to move up into that upper area, right? Yep. Okay, now I've got to get out of this position. 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Can we get through the sellers and get me out? Can we get through the sellers and get me out before we hit a $5,000 expense? Boom. Flatten. In a worse price. Only 5. Only 5 cartridges. Didn't even come close to a $5,000 drawdown. Did not come close to a $5,000 static drawdown. And an entry that never came favorable. Seed. Did you just witness what we just did there? Did you see it? Thoughts. Please, if I'm crazy, tell me. This is the community. We've gotta make sure we keep each other in the lane, right? Am I too far out? Am I in left field? Do you need to bring me back into I don't even know what it's called in baseball. Shows you what I know. I'm a nerd. I'm not an athlete. Infield. That's the word I'm looking for. Am I out in left field? Do you need to bring me back into the infield? Or are we here together? Am I on second and you're at home? Did I do the exercise, the experiment right that time? I have witnessed asset management. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I've got to run this back. I got a lot of back testing I have to do this weekend. And when I say back testing, I'm talking about demonstration like this. I want to see one that breaks. I want to see one that doesn't work. I want to see what happens in that condition. Because in that condition, what happens is we blow an account. But see, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Question for you. If you're a prop firm and you witness and you watch something like this and you see this, and maybe it's something you haven't seen before either, would you let a group of individuals get away? Or would you possibly create a tailored, I'm not even going to ask that. I'm going to go about it a different way. We need to go prop. We need to go prop because we need a team of about 10 people. We need 10 people that we can train, that we can nurture, that we can teach, that can become profitable. We trade, we make our money, we pool our funds, we create the inventory, the funds that we need for the inventory necessary to be able to do this with a 15 lot. We need 15 contracts of inventory, and we'll probably never need it. You'd rather work with who? The prop firm or open your own? As a retail trader, I am sunk by my own stop. The ship has a hole because of my stop. Because we run stops. Asset managers do not run stops. They use inventory to manage the risk. My God, what a change in thought process. What a change in ideology. But see, not everybody can do that. Especially when it comes to their own funds. And not everybody can be consistent in it because as a trader, your program is not aligned to this at all. And not everybody's going to get that. If I'm a prop, I'll rather work with a group of those. Yes, exactly. I know. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take this to them and we're going to do it and we're going to see what they say about it. And by July, August timeframe, they're going to come to us and they're going to say, hey, we need to talk. I give them 10 or 20% to be able to do this, where I don't have to worry about the assets on my side. Because worrying about the assets on my side, now I also have to be a risk manager too. That's a different story than an asset manager. That's a risk manager. And if I can just put my hats on, my two hats, and only have two, not have three, not have four, have two, the asset manager and the trader, which is doing the entries, and the asset manager that's managing the risk on the other side. I would go with a prop firm and pay them 20% to give me the opportunity to do this. And with a group of 10 people, we can asset allocate, we can diversify the assets. And as a group, we would never have to worry about anything ever again in terms of finance and those type of things. And of course, life stuff will come up, but we have a community of 10 individuals and keep ourselves going. completely against the trend the whole time in this session, anticipating a narrow range day that turned much wider than I was anticipating when I went back and picked the day. Completely against the bias, completely against everything. We were up 750, up about another 100, and then up about another whatever this one was here. I think it was like $200 or $300. Even in this day, completely against it, you're still up over 1,000 because of the asset management. And five in this example, 5 was enough. In a wide day, we would need 10 to 15. Do you agree with that? If I'm crazy, just tell me I'm crazy. Put crazy into the chat and I will absolutely 100% agree with you and we'll reassess. But I really think we're on to something here. Mind blowing. Okay. I need a haircut. I'm looking really shaggy. I haven't taken a shower yet today. I haven't even fixed my hair. I'm live right now and probably people are like, "Oh my god, you're nuts." Yeah, probably so. But you know what though? Think about it. The Human Performance Lab, right? I'm like a scientist. I'm like that crazy scientist. You know what? I'm like the scientist from Back to the Future. There we go. I like it. We got the flux capacitor going on, right? Um I do have to get going. I will be back about 9:30, 10. I'm going to be doing this all day long. I'll put in Discord when I'm back. Anybody watching right now that wants to be involved in learning more of this, go ahead and go to Live the Return on Discord and join the Discord. I'll let you know when I get back and we'll start running this again. And I'm going to afford that opportunity to those that are watching right now, that if you want to get involved at the ground floor, something that could be pretty big, let's go ahead and start having some conversations and see if we can mesh together. All right. Because if I can continue these experiments and I can continue to run them now, I'm not saying that I have anything yet. I'm saying that there's a strong possibility of something that I want to move into and I want to continue testing. And I'm going to be spending probably a good 14 to 20 hours over the next 2 days testing this, if not more. I've got 48 hours to play with, not quite because it's already 6 a.m. So I've got another 12 hours today probably that I can do this with, and I've got another good 10 hours tomorrow I can do this with. So I got good 22 hours of testing underneath me in order to do this. And we're going to see if we can't put this together. And we're going to go through as many days as we possibly can, and I'm going to try to find the whole. I'm going to try to find that one thing that breaks this. And if I can't break it, I already have the plan. I shared that plan yesterday. What do you think about that plan? Let me let you go eat as well. Yeah, exactly. And we'll take our times with this, Speed, right? This isn't something that has to be done right now. If we want to wait for a week or whatever, look, okay, I'm the type of individual, you put a full idea in my head, I'm just going to run right through it, right? That's just me. And I don't stop. I'm like a fiery little ram and I just run right through everything, right? I don't care. You might be the sound of reason to slow things down a little bit. And so if you want to give it more time, say so, right? I don't want to lead this. I want a community of individuals that feel like their voice can be heard and understood and things adjusted to. All right. So we need to go into it with that mindset and that ideology. All right. But I'm going to push because it's what I do. If you need to back off, that's fine. If I want to continue to push in that, I can. And if I do these in live and recordings, here we go. And I'll tell you this much right now in terms of the community, right? Before I started going live, I was around 120 subs. Okay. This morning, even being live here, we've picked up 2 subs on YouTube, even just this session. And what that's showing me is that people are interested in this material. And as long as people are interested in this material, I need to get this material out there to individuals. So everything we do is going to be in a live session. I'm just going to start hitting the live button and I'm just going to go through. And I really don't care if people are talking to me or whatever it is or anything else like that, because it's not so much growing the community. It's getting the information out there that people want access to. And if we picked up 2 subs this morning, there's 2 people out there in the world that want access to this information. And as long as there is one, that is enough. Do you agree? We spoke about patience and intentions, right? I'm still learning how to crawl. Okay, well, beautiful. Well, you crawl, I'm gonna run, and it doesn't take very long to move from crawling to walking to running. Watch a toddler. It doesn't take long. Let's play. All right, I only go get my hair cut. You go eat, do your thing. I'll come back in Discord, say, hey, I'm here, and then I'm just going live and I'm running this. I am absolutely 100% running this, and I'm gonna see if I can't break it. I tried to break it here when I went into the 5 way too early. I have to wait for the extension because the extension is going to create the volatility on the pullback to the backside that's going to get us out of the positions. Because if we get out before the volatility is going to hit, and that pullback isn't going to be enough to get us out, even though I think this one possibly was. Because where we were with the 5, I think, was right down in here, and I think that this moved down far enough to make that happen, and it might even move down a little bit more. Oh yeah. Definitely. It did not move down far enough to come back down to the entry way down here, at least not yet. But the volatility created the pullback enough to come back and test into what? The auction. That's where we needed our entry to be. And look what it did. We're not hoping and praying. We're not wishing and hoping that the market reacts out of our areas. We don't care what it does. We'll manage the risk on the backside. Not through a stop. Thank you, Seed. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon. You have a good breakfast and enjoy. I'll be back in a bit. And those of you listening and those of you watching, thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. I'm working on something, and I'm going to do it at the live edge because I believe in authenticity. This may not work. This might break. This might do all sorts of stuff, but it's time to put ourselves into a position to take our power back as retail traders, because the power is there. Not just in trading, but take our power back in life. So the patterns, if you watched this at all, you could see that at times my patterns were already kicking in. Look at how many times I just immediately reached for the stop for no reason whatsoever. It's those patterns, it's the program. And if we don't break out of those patterns and separate from them, not heal them, not fix them, not blame them, not try to change them, to really just allow ourselves, allow them to exist, but allow ourselves to separate from them to gain new information. And then we go into the lab and we practice that new information and we hone it and we make it better until we can use it at the live edge to achieve the results and the intentions that we're looking for in our lives. I hope everybody understands that concept and what I'm trying to do here. Trading is not the thing. The demonstration is. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for the support.